So we are live. Today we do a special stream and it's MCU related and I got a guest so you can now present yourself.
What's up, everybody? My name is CHILLMONGER. CHILL Monger. What's up, everybody?
That's good. So I forgot to mute my other screen because I have the chat in the other screen. Anyway, how was your day, man?
Pretty good. I was just checking out Monday Night Raw live from Toronto, so that was fun.
That's good. So I've seen your video about She-Hulk. This is with the Second Street, the other YouTuber, Second Street something. I'm bad with names. You know what I'm talking about? The one that was uploaded like yesterday, I think.
Yeah, Second Street Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice one, and it's very interesting because here I like to have people that have different opinion than mine on my channel because I don't want to sound like an echo chamber. And
Mm.
a lot of times, when I have Cole around, Cole Turner from MSK channel, we agree on a lot of things. So sometimes, without really wanting it, we sound like an echo chamber. Yesterday we were on the same page for She-Hulk as we were streaming, and I was kind of happy to see that you enjoyed it much more than us. So today we will speak MCU, not just She-Hulk. Like overall, what do you enjoy so far, if you know what I mean?
There's a lot to enjoy there. It's a fun show, as in, like, it's lighthearted. They did stuff that honored comic book stuff where she speaks straight to the camera, which is similar to the comic book, early comic books of She-Hulk. There, also the story of how she gets her powers from the blood of Bruce. A little bit of a twist on it, but it was consistent. It was just really an origin. We don't know much about her, but so far, so good. Like, it's an interesting what it gave us towards Bruce Banner's character Hulk and how he had this device on his hand. Okay, well that explains what happened at the end of Shang-Chi. Like, it was useful for the 30-minute short that it was.
That's good. That's very interesting. So, what do you think like overall as a character She-Hulk? Do you enjoy what we got from her so far and why?
No, I wouldn't say overall as a character I enjoy her. I don't have enough to enjoy her. Like, the moments that she was kind of speaking to Banner in the car, it was like, yeah, we're just catching up on life. It was just that typical stuff. I use chopsticks on my Cheetos. It's really smart. A little bit quirky, a little bit, but again, it is just a little bit. I don't know. She doesn't have much character, but she does have what she represented. Do you know specifically the conversation where she says, "I'm a woman and I get catcalled, so I can handle anger"? I don't think that's a character as much as it is like she was representing just the existence of women who live here, meaning in the West. Like, you go out at night, that's what happens. The people will approach you, and you just gotta sigh, gotta get over it. You're in the workplace, and someone's trying to quote unquote mansplain to you, and it's like that realistically happens. And so she just voiced that. I can't consider that a character moment, but it's just a reality.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Now, the way I see it, it was an insert from the writer, and that kind of dialogue doesn't feel natural. I really don't like it. And that's just me here again. As I said, I like having other takes because I don't want to sound like an echo chamber over here. So I'm glad to see that you kind of you are more on board than me with that kind of
So
line.
let me go to it's unnatural. So this conversation about anger and feelings is unnatural. That's never gonna pop up because we don't actually have people turning green monsters because they get mad. So the thought of it, the inception of this argument was going to be unnatural. There was no human real life dialogue for you to explain how you can handle anger better and you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it is unnatural.
Like what I mean by there is even if you are on a comic book universe like She-Hulk, I think you can still have some dialogue that makes sense and that can relate to reality even if it's not our reality. It should be grounded at some extent if you know what I mean. But here again, that's my my thought process on it. I'm like, I will give a good example. Jessica Jones. I don't know if you have seen it, the TV
No,
show by
never.
Netflix. Never?
Nope.
Oh man, you're missing something. The first season was a masterpiece, but the struggle she has is very human, and even if it's a comic book universe where she has superpowers and stuff, the dialogue were well done, and the story arc she has, even if she has powers, were grounded and they made sense, and you could relate. It's a what if world. What if superpower were a thing in reality, even if it's not? Do you know what I mean?
I do think rated. Sorry, it's grounded in reality. I think that like women really experience these things, and so she used those real life experiences to convey it to Banner,
But
just like Jessica Jones.
do, do you really think like that kind? I know you're saying people will not get green mad and stuff, but when people speak about the matter, if they do in real life, is it just like what they did in the show?
Would go just like that. She would say, "Hey, well, they could do more." As you said, you watched my video with Trinity. She could have expanded and said, "Well, Bruce, unlike you, I know you got your daddy issues because comic book wise, he does. I'm not dealing with a lot of the things that you deal with. I'm mentally fit, and I know you are not." Plus, on top of that, if she would have also added that on a daily basis, I deal with anger, that you just wouldn't understand what it's like to be a woman who monthly has a period. Like if she says shit like that, I'm okay with all of it
That's
because
much
in
better. The way you just worded things is much better, and it makes more
why
sense.
don't you like her mentioning that guys overstep their boundaries at work? And what was the other one she said? She said I get catcalled because it does happen. It's truly realistic. Do you live vicarious? I'm not insulting you, but do you live vicariously through all male characters like they've got to be stand-up individuals or else it hurt you?
No, no. What I mean by there is the way it's said, the way it's worded. Like, the way you said the same thing made more sense. And people can speak like that in real life. But
Hmm.
in real life, the way they worded the dialogue is my issue. Do you know what I mean? Like, the way they express what they want to say, the message they want to deliver, it's what doesn't feel natural and well done. It's the execution of it. The idea is fine. I'm fine with the idea, but it's not a well polished idea. It's just bullet point you may have and just throw it on the wall hoping it sticks. You know what I mean?
Feels like the writer really wanted the gripes of a day-to-day woman to be on screen, and so she didn't get past. Oh, how do I make this worded smoothly? Is that what kind of you mean?
Yeah, as I said, the way you worded things sounds much better than what we got with the show.
Okay, so
And
it
it's the same
was
issue, but the way you worded things and the way you expressed the same idea is just much better than what they did. And that's the same message at the end. It's just the delivery of it that is different. And your delivery feel more natural and organic than what they did.
I got you.
So
You want
that's
to move over to the rock throwing now?
rock throwing. No,
The
to be honest, I didn't care about that sequence. I think all the Hulk was like the best part of that episode, even if he's not amazing. Like they just don't know how to handle Hulk, and they don't give a crap anymore about it. But I still enjoyed a lot what he had there. But my true issue with that episode was how it felt like an entire season in one episode.
What?
Entire.
I thought it was short. I thought like there's so much missing. I want to know about the Sakaar ship. I wanted to know who that villain was. What was the motivation? How did they know? Did the villain know that She-Hulk or did Jen can turn into a Hulk? Like, did she know that? Because that was random. There's, a few months later, all of a sudden you just get attacked and you have the abilities to protect yourself. I want to know. I want to know so much more. I don't feel like it was a season. I feel like it was a cliffhangery episode one.
because she already knows everything about being She-Hulk. She doesn't need to learn anything anymore. So it
It's not
feels
like you need
like
a
a full
skill to
season.
smash. Well, clapping your hands, you need a full course for 4
Uh,
semesters.
I don't know. Like, I mean, they in one episode we really got like she got her power, boom, bam, 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 and she already is She-Hulk. Like, I will give a good example. Have you seen the Daredevil TV show that was on
Yeah,
Netflix?
I watched the first season. He takes a long time to actually get into the suit.
Yeah, and that's part of the beauty of it. They work on that. They really make sure it feels earned. The moment where he picks up the suit and he becomes Daredevil, it's earned. And Shield doesn't really feel earned. She just feel like she stumbled on something and boom, she has power and she's already good and she's already the superhero she should be.
When we say she's already good, like I gotta repeat my point. All you do as a Hulk is smash, wave your hands around. It's not like there's a skill like there's a Hawkeye has to learn her accuracy. Like everyone has their different things to learn. For her, it's okay. Let me jump. Let me fall off this cliff. Let me see how durable I am. My body will heal itself. There's nothing to learn as the Hulk. What Hulk jutsu is there that you got to take time in Mount Mayobako? Is that it? The toad place? I screwed up my Naruto reference. My bad.
Nyobuku month.
There, that one.
So here's the thing. I'm not the writer, and I think like I'm better at nitpicking what they do than doing it, and that's why I'm not a writer because I know I'm not good enough to be a writer for that kind of show. And if I was paid the money they are paid to do that job, I would craft a lot more my stories than them because I wouldn't want the perfect product and it feels well it's I just felt like the first episode was really rushed. And as Hulk said, it took him 15 years to become the Hulk, like Prof Hulk or whatever, Smart Hulk, the way he wants to be called. It took him 15 years. It took him many movies to be where he is right now. And now, in half an hour, She Hulk is already ready to be She Hulk, you know? Do you know what I mean
Yeah,
by
he's
that?
our only comparison point. If there was like 50 Hulks, and we could measure, the gradual mastery of the anger, if we can measure that, then we could say this. But we don't have anyone else but him,
Yeah.
and it's possible that if 100 people got the Hulk power, it's possible that Bruce Banner may be the only guy because he's so troubled to be the one with the anger issues with the other guy living with that stuff. It is possible. We only have 2 examples to look at, and one of them handled it nicely. Maybe Bruce Banner is the oddball here. Just because he's the one we're familiar with doesn't mean that it's the standard. It's got to take 15 years to get mastery of it. I'm sort of sounding like the antagonist in this conversation
Uh,
just for the sake of like prolonging it, but I do
That's
co-sign.
fine. I don't
I
want to
do
sound like
co-sign
an
what you're.
echo chamber, you know. That's
Yeah, yeah,
fine.
yeah.
That's the point of having different opinion, you know. And I like it. I like it. You're not an antagonist. We are having a discussion. I think it's fine. I
I
have
agree
energy,
with
you know.
the speed of this episode because the beginning when they're chilling in the car before they get attacked, I would have loved for more conversation. Let me see what the Hulk has been up to. Expand the world like the
Yeah,
MCU is a universe. Have him bring up other heroes like how's Pepper been since? And I'm actually be interested in seeing what Pepper was like. And maybe Jennifer Walters represented Pepper like 3 4 years ago for all I know. Like add to it. You had so much time and it wasn't expensive because Banner was in his human form during that scene. So
yeah.
if this is a short 30-minute episode, build on it. When the Sakaar ship comes down and it faces them, how about oh no. What? Why is it looking at us? That's a ship from Sakaar. Why hasn't it shot us yet? I think it's trying to make sure that I'm the one. It doesn't recognize me in this form. But this is hey listen, all you gotta know, Jen, is this, and he gives her like a little bit of speech. We could have expanded more, and maybe we'll get to see what we missed out because they did speed through that. But we could have slowed that down. The entire episode, or the training, everything that happened in Mexico, that could have been 2 episodes of just talking and chatting and seeing what happened and discussing the world again. Like it's a world, and the point of these shows should be, or the benefit of these shows is should be that you can slow down, have some talking because there's so much more time than there is with a film, and they didn't capitalize on that. And if I were writing the show, even though I'm not a master writer, it definitely would have expanded. Yeah.
I agree with you on that, and that's funny. I will give you a good example of what I really mean by it took an entire season, for example, Daredevil to become Daredevil. I will pick a more recent example with Miss Marvel. I know you have seen it. Have you seen all 6 episodes of Miss Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay,
All six.
so I do enjoy the character a lot. My issue was really the story and the character around. Think a lot of things were poorly done, but I think the character of Miss Marvel was charming. She was a great character, I think, and she is one of the few reasons why I'm looking forward to maybe watch the Marvel, and that's maybe the only thing I will see from Phase 5 because I'm not that hype, you know? So, Miss Marvel, what they did right, they didn't rush through things. Oh, fuck. Yeah, they didn't rush through things. So, in the first episode, she get the bracelet. I forgot the name. Like the you know what I mean. The
Bangle.
Yeah, the Bengal, exactly, the Bengal. She got the Bengal in the first episode, and she start using her powers by the end of the first episode, and even there, she doesn't control well her powers, and she trained in episode 2, and in episode 2, she also tried to save someone, and it was almost a catastrophe. It was almost like the end of that kid because she did a mistake, you know? So she earned her power by the end of the season because they took their time. And that was the first big fight with episode 3, and she was on the defensive. She wasn't a fighter. She was dodging, she was trying her best to survive. That was well done. So at the end, when she's able to beat everyone down, it felt earned. I think. Well,
Wait, you're
that's
talking
me.
about at the end where she put up a bubble? It was her and Kamran, and then she just punches into the ground. Oh, you can escape through this little tunnel I've created. Like that? That was horrible. Everything in the final episode I thought was horrible with Ms. Marvel. Yeah, it was a slow build, and yeah, she was on the defensive. Yeah, she didn't have like no mastery of what the hard light could do. You know, she kind of learned how to step on. Remember when Bruno was bringing her back upstairs in the first episode, and she needed help upstairs?
Yeah.
She created a stepping disc like randomly. I'm like, yeah, that's a gradual understanding. But look, I hate that they changed her superpowers in a show. They've never done that for a titled character. Like I know Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy is different, has different powers. But as far as like doing a whole superhero show about a superhero, imagine if Spider-Man couldn't stick on walls. Instead, he had hard light. Imagine if Wolverine they do it without claws. He's got hard light. That is preposterous. I'll never accept that.
But I still think my point is there was a build up, and she wasn't rushed to become Miss Marvel. She had a longer process, and it took the entire season. Even if the season had a few fillers here and there that I didn't really like, I think overall the ideas were there, and there was a lot of good to take from that. And now coming to She-Hulk, in the first episode, she's already against the first villain, and we guess she already won the fight. So as you said, I think if they had more build up for the universe and more discussion with Bruce and more time with Bruce overall, it could be just better. Now I can expect in future episode that the Hulk is no more around because he did his cameo and that's it. That's all they wanted.
I hope not. I hope we get a full Hulk episode, a full return to Sakaar. Because if they're gonna do the World Breaker Hulk story, which is rumored, then you got to set it up at Planet Hulk, and let's return to Planet Hulk.
Instead, they will speak in bathrooms with weird scenes.
No, I hope not.
So, yeah, I think the first episode was really hard for me to watch. I'm glad some people enjoy it. It's great to have like that diversity in opinion and take on pretty much everything that's part of fandom, and I like it. Now, if you look back, have you seen Hawkeye?
Show, did you say?
Yeah, Hawkeye, the show Hawkeye.
I've never heard of the show.
Hawkeye, with
Oh
Kate.
man, yo, bro, yeah, okay, yeah.
I was
Hawkeye,
like,
sure. Nah,
I'm
it's
that
my
bad
bad,
with
my
my
bad.
accent.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Have you
I'm
seen
like,
it?
what did you just say? El Kai? Like, what are you talking about? Well, you're talking
Hawkeye,
about the guy with
Hawkeye.
the archery powers, Hawkeye. I got it. Clint
Yeah,
Barton, Kate Bishop, yeah,
yeah. Have you seen it?
yeah.
Did you enjoy it? Like, who's your favorite female character, Kate or She-Hulk?
Ooh, well, I got way more with Kate, so I will. You know what? This is tricky. Kate Bishop was like a copycat of what Kamala is supposed to be, sort of the super fangirl of a hero. So when her character came up, I was kind of like, no, that's supposed to be Kamala. But they did make Kamala still a fun kind of character, regardless. Out of the two, I will choose Kate Bishop Hawkeye.
That's cool. Um,
I want to say that She-Hulk, Ben Walters, in like 3 episodes, she could easily overtake Kate because it wasn't much.
okay, that's interesting. Now what? You're really into comics, so what do you think will happen in the next episode?
I would say she's gonna represent Titania. Yeah, she's gonna be like, no, no, no. Listen, I can help, and she'll find a calling for representing supervillains or superheroes, people with powers, and that's where that direction will go. And Matt Murdock will appear at the final scene of the episode.
Already? Do you
Oh
think
yeah,
they will already use Matt Murdock?
yeah. We got to use him, and they probably have some more cameos lined up.
Yeah. Do you want like I've seen someone I've seen someone coming to a podcast and he said yeah I've seen the first 4 episodes and he didn't say any spoiler but I know when Matt shows up. Well, I have an idea when he shows up. Do you want to know?
I'll tell you my idea. I don't want to know, but I'll tell you this: if they do trailers, usually material from the first half of the show is only shown, especially with the Star Wars stuff. So I would have guessed episode 2, 3, or 4 is when we get Matt Murdock because he's appeared in a trailer.
Okay, that's a good guess. That's a good guess. Now, you have seen the Daredevil TV show, and do you remember the tone of the show?
Yeah, very slow and it was depressing.
Did you liked it?
I did.
Be honest. I mean, here that's what we are. We are honest. Even if we disagree, that's the fun of it. We need to be honest.
Yeah, wait. I liked it. Like it was a good slow tone. It was dull. That's fine. I can enjoy both. I prefer the happy stuff, but with what Daredevil gave me, and I watched season 1 of it, it was good.
Why didn't you give it a shot with season 2? You didn't like season 1 enough?
It's not canon. When I heard the MCU, it's Kevin Feige's, and Jeff Loeb runs Marvel Entertainment, and I just stopped watching Agents of Shield. I didn't watch any of those stuffs. Cloak and Dagger, I watched a little bit of it, but I knew it wasn't canon. So why waste my time on stuff that's not canon? That's my mindset.
That's interesting. I
I'll add
can
one more thing, Multi. Hold
yeah
on. You know how the Static movie is being canceled? That's the rumor. I'm
yeah.
like, yes, good. I want Static to be canceled because if it's canon, that'll be better. So DC, David Zaslav is getting a whole 10-year plan ready. Good. Get your 10-year plan. Let's get a Batman. Let's get a Superman. And then do a Static Shock movie. I want to see him high-fiving Wonder Woman and chatting with the Flash, the new one, not Ezra Miller. But like, I want to see a whole Static universe, not just give me one solo film, whoop-de-doo, it's Static. I feel so happy to be represented. If canceling this movie now means that 3 years from now we'll actually get a Static mixed with the Justice League, that's way better.
That's interesting. So why do you think canon is that important?
Is that a serious question? Bro,
I
I
will be
can sink
honest.
my teeth.
I,
Uh,
I I will be honest. Agents of Shield, I still enjoyed. Well, season four is so far is the weakest because I actually dropped out. Like the first time I tried watching the show when it first came out, I didn't really gave it a chance, and I just stopped because I lost interest. But then recently I started making a lot of videos about shows that ended or that were canceled, and I was like, oh, let's give a second chance to Agents of Shield, and I enjoy
mhm.
it so far. Like I've seen the first four seasons. The fourth one is clearly the weakest, but even if people tell me it's not canon, I'm still wondering what happened next. Like, it's not canon to the extended universe, but it's canon to their own show. I mean, it's their own story, so I don't really mind if it's not really connected. So
But it's
yes, it's a true
over.
question.
There's you're getting invested in something with an end point. There will no longer further the story of
I'm
those
fine with it.
agents. The department. Yeah, that's the difference between the two of us. I'll look at Naruto and I'll say, while it sucks that Naruto is over, whoa, you mean it continues on this Boruto thing? This is awesome. Now, when Boruto's
Boruto's
over,
bad.
I think there's gonna be a third Oruto kid, and then there's gonna be another Oruto, and then maybe an
Please stop
Uchiha
it.
and an
They
Uzumaki
murdered
get
my
together.
boy. They murdered my boy Naruto. Are you into
I
Boruto for
recently,
real?
not the filler or the anime canon, quote unquote, not that. No,
I'm reading the manga and I'm so disappointed. Are you up to date with the manga?
no, I'm not up to date with anything. I'm only at episode like 90 of Boruto, so I have like 200 more, I think, to catch up on. But I'm gonna skim through all the filler now, especially after that arc with Mitsuki where he meets that snake, Garaga, and I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, he's gonna be a snake sort of. He made a contract, and then at the very end of the arc, okay, bye. Or that ends our contract. I'm like, oh, this was just filler then. We just met this new character for nothing. Okay, cool. Anime canon from now on is completely filler. I'm just gonna watch all these episodes with my mouse on the playback. It was so frustrating because that was like a 20 episode arc of him going over to Onoki dying and oh my god, filler.
Look, Boruto has a lot of good things in it, but I think it's nowhere near as good as Naruto, and they ruined everything by making Boruto. I'm a huge
Can
fan
you
of Naruto.
clarify? You're talking
Naruto
about the manga canon. You're talking about real stuff that
manga
Kishimoto
canon,
wrote.
yes, manga
Okay.
canon. They messed up really hard. I'm not going into any spoiler, but they messed up really hard. And I think Naruto as one 72 volume story is a masterpiece. Even if it
Uh,
has its low at places, it's my favorite manga. And that's what made me interested into watching other manga and anime. No Naruto for me, no anime at all, you know. And I kind of like the start of Boruto. There were a lot of good things about it. I enjoyed a lot of the choice they did, a lot of the things they did. The action is great, but uh, the villains are really bad. It's very sad because we had Pain, we had the Akatsuki. Each single member had their own story going on, even if they are supporting villain, they were good.
we had
But
rival nations, so we always thought, oh, that guy's from the Hidden Mist. Uh-oh. Every time you saw somebody from another village, it was war, except
yeah,
for the Sand Village.
yeah, it's Boruto is a disappointment. Anyway, I like my stories when they have end, but if they don't end, I'm also fine with it as long as it's good. And so far, I feel like Boruto is a big letdown. Just like Agents of Shield with season four, like season four, I don't know where did you stop Agents of Shield?
Season 1.
Oh, really?
Hmm?
That's sad. Look, even if it's not canon, man, I recommend you to still watch at least the first three seasons because they are worth watching. Season four, they took many missteps, but I like it when there's an end to something. I don't like One Piece, for example, because One Piece seems like that story that never ends. That's also why I drop on Dragon Ball.
I never started Dragon Ball Super. Nope. As soon as I started watching real anime, that's right, I said it. When I watch the good ones, when it's not just I yell and I power up, my hair color changes, I was like, nah, this is just not comparable. It's
This is
cool.
what Boruto is becoming, without spoiler. It's always new power up, new power creep, no super villain, and it's so sad because the villains all want the same thing in Boruto. Like the first big villain, he is cool. He has
Yeah.
charisma, but he is not Pain. He is not Madara. He is not Obito. He is just that cool guy. Like, it's not the writing the issue, it's really like the lack of idea to do something new, I think. And it's worse because after that we got three other villain. One is not really a villain in its core, so it's kind of cool. The second one is more of a great character, so that's under Cool One. But then we get the new next big bad. He is boring. I will not go into any spoiler, but
I might be there though. The Otsutsuki guy with the one with the Byakugan. I think his
um,
name is Momokichi.
no,
Momokichi or
that's the
something.
first one. The first one is really early. The one after him is a big bad. The big bad is kind of cool. He has charisma, but his goal is the same as Momoshiki. And then after that guy, there's another guy that has the same goal, but he has other goal, but they all want the same thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
do something new, please. Like, I'm so done with world-ending threats. Like, lower the scale down just for once. Let me breathe. Let me like feel new tension, new characters having new dilemma. Like, if there's a fifth
Yeah.
Great War, I will be pissed because that will undermine Naruto journey to bring peace. But I think it would be much better than another world-ending threat.
What if the Great War is against another planet?
Could be interesting, but here again, it's world-ending threat. It's
Well, you
it.
got to end the show with a world-ending threat. But if you're talking about in the between, in the middle, or in the beginning, yeah, what about if like the Uchiha clan, maybe like 300 years ago, a couple of Uchiha said, "No, we're just gonna travel somewhere else," and then all of a sudden, in the land of tea, you got these guys with these Sharingan eyes, and you're like, "Whoa, what's going on here? You guys are descendants of the Uchiha?" Yeah, we are. We just decided the ninja life is not for us, but one time I had this stressful situation and my eyes changed colors. Whoa, you like that's a partner for Sarada. That maybe this guy could become, restore the Uchiha clan. Maybe Sasuke takes an interest, yada yada yada.
My favorite stories are like Daredevil was my favorite comic book TV show I've seen. I've seen a lot of comic book TV show, and it's not always world-ending threat. He's straight-paced. There's not really a world-ending threat, and I think that's part of the charm. That's also why when I see all these stories that all rely on world-ending threat, I get that kind of fatigue with it. I'm like, man, do something else. Do something original I have not seen like 10,000 times, you know?
Yeah, to keep things interesting.
Yeah. So, you should
We were all
also.
just talking about canon and how things come to an end. That's why I brought Boruto, which continues forever.
Yeah, I think that's one of the flaws with Boruto. Like, when it will end, what they will do, they may create another spin off, as you said. And since the first spin off, which was Boruto, is nothing as good as Naruto, I'm like, what's the point of having a third one, you know?
Yeah.
Have you seen Bleach?
Never.
Man, you won't like it because there was an end, but that's my second favorite a manga ever, and the anime is filled with filler, and that bothered me. But the manga was amazing. And I think the only reason why I placed Naruto over this one is, man, nostalgia. I've learned about Naruto first, so maybe nobody can really beat Naruto. But Bleach is really good, and what they did was genius. They had the first arc that wasn't like any big thread. The first arc was like, let's build up the universe. And then the second arc, it's let's build up the characters in the universe. And then the third arc, this is a world ending threat.
Yeah.
And then the fourth arc, they nerf everyone, so it's not another world ending threat. And they changed the goal. And even if people didn't really like the fourth arc, that's one of my favorite in all of manga and anime because they tried something new. They wanted to tell a new story and it wasn't a world ending threat. But then they did the last arc and that was another world ending threat. But at least the fourth one wasn't, you know?
Yeah, I
So
know. Yeah.
um what was your favorite MCU show so far?
Falcon and Winter Soldier
Why? I'm curious.
felt the most movie-like. The characters, Falcon and Bucky, both of them were like I don't know, important. They didn't really wasted the time on some other characters. What they built also led to other stuff, like what Sharon Carter was up to. Is she a Skrull? Like what? She's the power broker now. That was the original Sharon wasn't like that. What's changed? You feel me? Like there's a lot of mystery that came out of it, as well as the discussion. Seeing Isaiah Bradley. Why didn't you tell me there was another one like it, like another super soldier? Like that was such a it spoke to me. It was my type of storytelling.
That's cool. Now, I will tell you this. I have not seen everything about Phase 4 because I was very selective on what I chose to watch. I'm just curious. I have not seen Winter Soldier. I've heard a lot of things about it. I've watched reviews even if I have not watched it. Is it a world ending thread in that show?
No, no, no. Um, oh man, how do, yeah, the short answer to your question is no. If you want me to expand, I can try, but I don't want to
Expand.
ruin. I'll
I
say
don't know
that
if I
there
will watch it. That's the thing. Maybe I will watch it one day, but I have bad memory anyway, so it will vanish somewhere.
after the blip, a lot of people returned back, and how the world is handling the return of all these people is weird because like if you own a home, the people who are going to be favored are the ones who actually stayed. If you get blipped back, they're going to say, listen, someone else lives in your home, we're going to have to get you in the right condition. There's actually like an organization that runs that, like a global organization, the Global Reappropriation Association, something like that. They had a little three letters, okay? So yes, it affects the world in that respect. And the villains are people who oppose that. Like, yo, why are the big guys running us? Yada yada yada. So it's a world not ending, but a world threatened.
Okay, that's interesting. It's 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 like they're living. It's more about their living than the world itself, if we can call it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So you see, this is already much more interesting than any big bad that just want to destroy
Uh-huh.
everything. You know.
Yeah, there's no celestial coming out of the core.
You see, this is maybe I will take it. Maybe I will try it out because maybe they tried something. You know. What did you
It
think
did, but
of
you know what
Moon?
else they
What were
I'll
you
answer
about
Moon
to
Knight in a
say?
second.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that the real world had COVID happening, and we know what happened there. Now,
Yep.
they changed some of the plot because one of the plot points was with all of these people returning 5 years later, there's just an immune system that is 5 years out of date. So people are gonna get sick because that's what happens. Like if I were to travel to Europe right now, I live in Canada, by the way, but if I were to travel somewhere else, their immune system and what's in the air and what's in the water, I'm not built for that. So I'm gonna get sick if I drink the water in another country. That's what happens. They tell you not to drink airport water. I mean, airplane water too. Like that's just the reality of the matter. So that was in the show. They needed vaccines in the show, and when you watch it, they wrote out what the vaccines were for. But there is gonna be like a scene where they collect vaccines. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I see. I
Our
see.
thoughts on Moon Knight. Our thoughts on Moon Knight was it had a good start, but the parts where they didn't show you actually in the superhero form when it was Jake Lockley whooping butt, like it was the final episode. I want to see mayhem, and you kept that away from me. That was cheap.
You see, I feel like if they didn't spend that much time with Layla in episode 4, because episode 4, let's be honest, it felt more filler than any other episode in that season. And maybe 2 at some extent. If we take out like scenes and stuff, you trim it down and you just insert Mayhem, as you call him, that could be much more interesting, don't you think?
I would agree. Episode 4 was dull, and we could have gotten the mayhem.
So speaking about female character, uh, what do you think about what Phase 4 did with all of their female character? Are they good? Are they bad for you? Like, and why? Do you think they are as good as, let's say, Phase 1 or Phase 2?
I would say Kamala Khan, just the Kamala part, not the superpowers, but the Kamala part is good, and nobody else.
Why is that? Why do you think only Kamala is a good character?
Maybe it helps that the others were all sidekicks or secondary in their shows, like Layla from Moon Knight, the Scarlet Scarab. I didn't even know she was gonna get powers. So I didn't really much care for her. Maybe because Kamala actually got the time.
So, how would you like describe Kamala? Her strength, her weaknesses, like what she is as a character?
So she's like you and I as people who follow the superhero world.
Yeah, but does that reveal you like what's her flaws? What flaw do you see with Miss
Flaw
Marvel?
of youth, the flaw of youth and caring about irrelevant things that we used to back when we were younger, handling relationships and the awkwardness of being interested in someone else, not knowing how to, remember when she was shy in the house when
Yeah,
Najma was like, "Oh, you're right, Kamran. She is really cute." And then he's like, "Well, I didn't say that." What? And you saw her blushing. I,
yeah,
she still experiences emotions turned up to 10 for the littlest thing.
yeah. You see,
These are traits I like.
I agree with you a lot. Like I could relate to her a lot because I was also daydreaming a lot when I was her age, and people change, but at your core, you remain the same. If you know what I mean, like she is she is daydreaming, but she is also like the person that will place herself in danger to help out people.
Hmm.
So now speaking about Layla, why didn't care about her? Forget she has power. Why um she wasn't as endearing? I guess maybe I project my thoughts on you. I don't know. What did you thought about Layla? I should ask.
So from the beginning, I saw, okay, well, there's this woman married to Steven. Or rather, well, it wasn't Steven, it was Mark, right?
Yeah,
Well, okay, you're not that interesting to me. You are married to Mark. You're on the side. Oh, look, you're returning for the second episode. Okay, cool. Oh, look, here you are again for the third episode. What do you know? And then all of a sudden, she has powers. I remember not caring enough about Layla when she was being stalked Ethan Hawke's character by him. And I'm like, oh, she's in the tomb and he's right there. I hope she gets away. I hope she. I wasn't like, you know, I wanted the show to go on Moon Knight because the show was called Moon Knight, and because the focus wasn't on her, I didn't care for her. I'm sorry. I only saw her as a support. The second most important character was also played by Oscar Isaac, so she didn't get enough.
Okay, I actually thought she was my biggest issue with Moon Knight. I could not stand that character. I could not relate to anything she was having or she was dealing with. She just felt like that forced character that doesn't need to be around, and I really feel like Moon Knight could have been much better if she just wasn't around. Just Mark and Steve were good enough to hold the show on their shoulders because they were great.
Yeah.
What's your thought on it? Do you think like Layla was really needed?
No, I know that the studio Marvel has a tendency to go, well, look at what we've casted. It's too male heavy. Let's get women in there. Make sure a lot of screen time goes to her. Let's get another side. Like that's how they think, and it goes with race also, where they go, oh, we've leaned one way too often, too hard. Well, then we gotta change a couple of characters' races, and let's cast accordingly. I noticed that, and I think you can do that if you do it not for single shows. Like if you feel like you've done Moon Knight and it leans to one side and it's male, go give another TV show to a woman character led with a woman. So do a She-Hulk. If your answer for Moon Knight is it's too male, give me a She-Hulk show, which you've already had planned. If your answer to Moon Knight is it's too male, give Monica Rambeau her own movie rather than squeezing her in with Carol and with Kamala. The answer to your issues, because we probably look at the show when we see the same thing. We go, oh look, it's male heavy. We don't want to push that. 50% of the world is males. Let's make 50% of our genre males. Like everything we produce, it should be 50% because we want to be even. That's what the world we live in. Let's have our heroes represented. Cool. All right, I'm with you so far. Now give them their own shows. Don't infuse them into these shows that have to do with males because all the scenes that went to Layla could have went to Jake Lockley. That's all I can see.
I agree with you. Now, have you seen the Stargirl TV show?
I'm not a DC guy, no.
Oh, that's sad. That's a great show. So
Is it
you
canon though? Is it in the DCEU? Is it in this Arrowverse? Is it with Superman and Lois? Like what?
it's only weird place. Well, it's at some extent it's part of the Arrowverse, but it's not connected. See it as an alternate Earth because this is the case. Uh,
So it's an alternate Earth. That's why I can't get into it. If she's never gonna be in the same place as Arrow, I don't know. Oh, well, not that's a bad example because he's kind of done. The actor's out.
yeah,
But like if she's not gonna be mixing it up with all the other shows that are still going,
but
what's
that
the point of this
universe
dead end?
is over with the Flash finishing this year. So
It's over, really?
yeah,
Wow.
it's finishing this year with the Flash. The Flash ninth season will probably be the last season of the Arrowverse, and even Superman and Lois. They decided they disconnected at the end of season two. They were like, "Oh yeah, finale." Because they canceled Legends and Batwoman, we won't connect it to the Arrowverse. So Superman and Lois basically create its own universe, and I'm guessing they will make new show based on it if it survived the merger.
Oh, you know what Zaslav could do? If Henry Cavill is not going to sign with the DC, all you got to say is, listen, fine. Superman and Lois is the new canon. This is the new film universe. You can watch some of the episodes of Lois and Superman and see all that stuff to get you as a primer. But that is definitely the canon. It's the Justice verse. It begins there. And then maybe see what Robert Pattinson is doing because there's nothing that happens in the Batman movie that came out that contradicts show Superman and Lois. And then you can say, listen, both of those are in the same universe, and that's our new EU. They shouldn't call it the DCEU. They should give it its own name. Why did you bring up Stargirl though?
Um, because she had one of the best cast, and it was well balanced. The cast is very diverse. The way Marvel's wants to do it, the way Disney wants to do it, and she is a strong character that just happened to be female, and the second best character outside of her, because she's clearly the best character of it because she's well written. She has her flaws. She is very interesting, and despite her flaws, she's still a strong person, a strong character. So she also has a strong counterpart, her stepfather. A man is basically the second best part of the show. You know what I mean? Like, there's a good 50-50. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that's why I brought up Stargirl, because I feel like when it's done right, it gives a great product. And
Who writes Stargirl? That person should get a promotion and then write more stuff for DC within that company, be
yeah,
climbing up the ranks.
yeah, and that's funny because that person made the show, and that person is very into the comics, and that person wanted to honor his sister because that's the guy making the show. And Courtney Stargirl is basically like some kind of insert of her sister, of his sister, I should say.
Yo, you said the guy is it created by Jeff Johns? That's what Wikipedia says.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course he would be the guy. He was in charge of DCEU. I guess he didn't have power though.
but yeah, Stargirl, man, that's a must-see series. Even if it's connected but not connected, like it's part of the universe, but they didn't really exchange anything outside of a few minutes in a big crossover event. Uh, it's still worth it. The same goes for Jessica Jones, man. You're into like Marvel stuff. You should really give a shot to Jessica Jones, man,
If she
because
appears, I will watch her. If her show is like somewhat alluded to being canon, I'll watch.
that will keep the same actress.
I hope so.
Me too. I also like. I don't understand you with your canon stuff the same way you don't understand me.
It's all good.
Um. So yeah. Thank you. What do you have going on your channel for anybody that just comes in and watch this stream here?
I'm working on a video about Giancarlo Esposito, why you should not want him to be Professor X. I'm working on that video, and then every Saturday I stream 33 burning MCU questions at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard, 6 p.m. London.
So thank you for coming, man. That was amazing today. I had a blast. Is there anything else you'd like to add? As I said, I enjoyed my time, man.
Nah, I'm all good, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. You can go take a look to CHILLMONGER. His channel is in the description below. Have a great day, everyone.